Tamar, you think I'm too? Huh?
Don't you go there.
Don't you go there.
First of all, a superstar.
Who's the man that I stole?
Tony's. You slept with them a few times.
Who? What man?
You not.
The last time we saw Toni Braxton and Tamar together, things looked seriously heated, with the sisters caught in a tense confrontation. Let it go. I will not let it go. But if you thought that was where the family drama ended, think again, because reports claim the tension has only gotten messier behind the scenes. Now, both sisters are allegedly bringing private issues into the spotlight and throwing some major accusations at each other. On one side, Toni has allegedly suggested that Tamar has always been at the center of their problems. Meanwhile, Tamar has reportedly fired back with claims involving Toni's relationship with Birdman, including some very personal cosmetic procedure rumors. Those claims remain unverified, so they should definitely be taken as gossip rather than fact. And the money drama is getting dragged into it too. With reports surrounding Toni's recent financial situation, Tamar has allegedly criticized her sister's spending habits and suggested they handle money very differently. Birdman's name has also somehow landed right in the middle of this family chaos, and reports say he has responded to the chatter. Their show might be canceled, but the Braxton drama clearly hasn't disappeared. Now, Toni and Birdman had that on-again, off-again relationship for years, but this is where the story gets way more complicated. For a long time, there was confusion about whether they actually got married.
Oh, did y'all see the clip of the Braxton sisters getting ready to brawl? They going toe-to-toe with Tamar, especially Toni. Laid back, mellow Toni Braxton was about to put her hands on Tamar.
Then reports about court documents surfaced, claiming the two had quietly tied the knot before separating only days later. According to those reported court records, the names were listed using the initials TB and BW, which quickly had people connecting the dots. The documents reportedly stated that the marriage happened on August 8th, and that the couple separated on August 10th, just 2 days later. Around 2 weeks after that, Toni reportedly filed for divorce, with the marriage described in the paperwork as irretrievably broken. But then came another unexpected twist. Even though the reported separation happened almost immediately, Toni later dismissed the divorce petition in January 2025, and Birdman reportedly agreed to the dismissal. That sparked even more questions online about where their relationship actually stood and whether the marriage technically remained in place. Naturally, social media started cooking up theories about what supposedly happened behind closed doors. Some people speculated that money played a role, especially because Toni's past financial challenges have been discussed publicly for years. But there's no solid evidence showing that money was the reason for the marriage, so that theory should stay exactly where it belongs, in the rumor category. Then Tamar reportedly got pulled into the conversation, and that added a whole new layer of family drama. According to allegations circulating online, Tamar supposedly suggested that the surprising situation between Toni and Birdman had nothing to do with money at all. And if those reports are accurate, then whatever allegedly happened between them may have involved a completely different issue.
Like a lot of people don't understand, my second bankruptcy was because I was sick. I have lupus, and my show in Vegas got canceled.
And the insurance wouldn't cover it.
The insurance didn't cover it, so I had to pay myself.
Right.
And so
That's a lot. That was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money to put up a show. People don't understand it. So if you see a concert, you see the lights, you see the band on stage. There's space for all that. The hotel rooms, the salary. So then you have nothing.
But then the rumors took an even more personal turn. Online chatter began claiming that Toni had allegedly undergone a private cosmetic procedure that supposedly didn't turn out the way she expected. Cosmetic work is nothing unusual in Hollywood, but this particular story quickly became much more dramatic, with Tamar allegedly being connected to claims that the results created serious complications. According to unverified reports, the alleged procedure supposedly became a major source of tension between Toni and Birdman. Some sources even claimed that Birdman was considering walking away from the relationship because of the situation. However, these are extremely personal medical claims, and there's no clear public evidence confirming that any of this actually happened. Then another rumor started spreading, that Toni allegedly learned Birdman might end things first, and decided to make her own move before he could. The story claimed she wanted to stay ahead of the headlines and control how everything looked publicly. Though again, that version of events remains speculation. And apparently, the behind-the-scenes tension didn't stop there. Reports claimed Toni's team considered legal action to keep sensitive personal allegations from spreading further. Other sources also suggested that medical assistance may have been involved, but without verified evidence, those claims should be treated carefully rather than presented as confirmed facts. Now, we need to separate what's actually documented from what's simply being whispered online. There aren't solid receipts proving every detail of this family feud, but some sources have alleged that Birdman believes these personal disagreements are part of the reason there's so much tension between Toni and Tamar. And apparently, the relationship drama isn't even the only issue being discussed. The money situation has also become a major talking point. Reports claim Tamar has allegedly criticized Toni over her financial decisions, with online chatter suggesting she views her sister as careless with money. More importantly, entertainment outlets have reported that Toni was hit with a federal IRS tax lien totaling close to $600,000. Those reports, citing public records, say the amount is connected to unpaid federal income taxes covering multiple tax years.
To ask for what she wants and give herself permission. Did you have to parent then?
Sometimes. When I was about 13 or 14, my mom, she had a really bad accident. She fell, and her back was really messed up, so she was in the hospital a long time. And so I was a surrogate parent for a moment.
Where was Dad?
Working, had to make a living, had 6 kids.
So what would it look like for you if it were different? If you didn't have that responsibility and if they weren't leaning on you, what would your life look like? What would you be doing?
Well, I would have soared.
Toni hasn't completely ignored the headlines either. She has reportedly addressed the tax situation, explaining that the matter is being handled and that she's working with professionals to get everything resolved. So while there appears to be a financial issue being dealt with, that doesn't automatically prove all the extra rumors surrounding it. And this isn't the first time Toni's finances have made headlines. Her previous money struggles have been publicly documented, which is exactly why this latest report quickly became another hot topic online. And Toni's history with money gets even more complicated when you look at how successful her music actually was. Despite reportedly generating more than $170 million in record sales for her label, Toni filed for bankruptcy more than once. She was helping create millions in revenue for Arista LaFace, yet she has said that under her recording deal, she received less than 35 cents per album sold. That massive difference eventually became part of a legal battle with her label. In January 1998, roughly 8 weeks after filing that lawsuit, Toni also filed for bankruptcy. She later explained that problems with her recording contract played a major role, claiming she received less than $2,000 in royalties, while still being responsible for expenses tied to clothing, travel, studio sessions, and music videos. So even though her career looked incredibly successful from the outside, her personal finances reportedly told a very different story. Things became even messier during the bankruptcy proceedings. Toni was accused at one point of improperly transferring $53,490 to her then-husband, Carrie Lewis, in a dispute involving creditors. That was an allegation connected to the bankruptcy case, not something that should automatically be treated as proven wrongdoing. Then, years later, financial headlines returned. In 2019, reports stated that the Internal Revenue Service filed a lien involving Toni on December 4th, adding another chapter to her long and complicated financial history. And those financial problems reportedly kept stacking up. According to reports about the lien, Toni allegedly owed more than $340,000 in taxes connected to 2017. Then, just days later, California's Franchise Tax Board reportedly filed another lien for more than $116,000. Put those numbers together, and the reported amount was getting dangerously close to $500,000. That's where Tamar allegedly comes back into the story. Online sources claim she has privately criticized Toni's financial decisions and supposedly questioned how some of her sisters handle money. But that remains unverified family gossip, so it shouldn't be treated as something Tamar definitely said. Towanda Braxton's finances have also landed in the headlines. According to reports citing court documents, a motion was filed involving the possibility that her home could face an auction after she allegedly fell several $1,000s behind on property taxes. Reports also say Towanda had previously filed for bankruptcy and later refinanced the property into her husband's name. Property tax problems can get serious fast. Depending on local rules and the details of a case, Unpaid taxes can eventually put a property at risk of further legal action or a tax sale. Meanwhile, some fans online have speculated that Tamar could potentially help Towanda financially, but that's just fan chatter. There's no confirmed evidence that Towanda has asked Tamar for money or that Tamar is financially supporting her sisters. Meanwhile, while some of her sisters have faced financial headlines, Tamar appears to be moving very differently with her money.
I've been waiting for this day because I want to show y'all just how toxic their family dynamic is. I want to talk about being the scapegoat of a toxic, dysfunctional, narcissistic family. For Toni Braxton to be ready to throw hands. I ain't never seen Toni come up out of her character. Ooh.
She recently shared that she brings in around $90,000 a month through touring, television appearances, and other investments, while claiming she only spends a small portion of what she earns. Tamar also said her mortgage runs about $2,500 a month, explaining that she deliberately lives below her means so she can keep saving and investing for the future. And according to Tamar, there's a reason she watches her money so closely. She pointed out that the entertainment business can be unpredictable, with major financial highs followed by slower periods, so she believes it's important to stay prepared for those rainy days. Of course, that immediately got people talking online, with some viewers wondering whether those comments were subtle shade toward Toni. There's no confirmation that Toni was actually the target, though, but being careful with money doesn't mean Tamar refuses to enjoy it. She recently upgraded her ride to a brand new 2026 Maybach, replacing the 2024 model she previously drove, and she hasn't only been spending on herself. Tamar also recently donated $40,000 to Baltimore public schools. She explained that investing in our youth is one of the most important things we can do, adding that today's students are tomorrow's leaders. So Tamar is clearly showing people exactly where some of that money is going. Basically, some fans are now calling Tamar the wealthiest Braxton sister because she keeps finding new ways to make money. She stays booked, keeps multiple income streams moving, and continues looking for opportunities to grow her brand. Supporters also point out that, unlike some members of her family, Tamar hasn't publicly faced the same kind of bankruptcy headlines or reported property liens. But there's another side to this conversation, and people are pushing back hard. Some fans think it would be unfair to label Toni financially irresponsible, especially because Toni has previously spoken about feeling pressure to financially support members of her family throughout her career. That changes the way some people view her past money problems. In fact, fans have argued that Toni's financial struggles shouldn't simply be reduced to careless spending. She has discussed carrying major financial responsibilities while also dealing with the complicated costs and contracts that came with being a huge recording artist. Some people believe that included helping relatives, including Tamar, though the exact amount of support Toni provided to each family member isn't publicly established. Either way, the money conversation appears to be adding another layer to the tension surrounding Toni and Tamar.
It shows y'all what happens when the scapegoat of the family is removed out of the picture, what happens to the rest of the family. Now, if y'all can remember in the past when Tracy was alive and she was on this show, all of the sisters used to gang up on Tracy. Tracy was the scapegoat. Tracy was the overweight one. She's the one that got bullied.
Toni has spoken about how much responsibility she carried for her family, while unverified reports claim Tamar sees some of Toni's financial choices very differently. But apparently, money isn't the only old issue being dragged back into the spotlight. There was also that messy moment when Towanda reportedly accused Tamar of getting involved with one of Toni's former partners. Some people online immediately started guessing who she meant, with Birdman's name eventually getting pulled into the speculation. However, there's no verified evidence supporting those assumptions, and Tamar denied claims suggesting anything inappropriate happened between her and Birdman. Then Toni reportedly added another sharp comment to the mix. She was quoted as saying that her sister Tamar loves being infamous more than famous, and that it disappoints her. Whether that comment reflects their relationship today is unclear, but fans have continued bringing it up whenever rumors of another Braxton family disagreement start circulating. And that comment hits differently when you look at how complicated Toni and Tamar's relationship has been over the years. They've had moments where they seemed extremely close. followed by periods where their disagreements became very public. That's why some fans believe the current tension isn't really about one argument. It could be years of unresolved family issues finally bubbling back up. At the same time, Tamar has made it clear in the past that she doesn't always agree with the way people portray her. She's pushed back against narratives that paint her as the difficult sister, while Toni has generally taken a quieter approach when family disagreements become public. Those completely different personalities can make an already complicated situation look even messier. And that's where things get tricky. When one sister speaks openly and another stays more private, people online start filling in the missing pieces themselves. Old interviews get resurfaced, past disagreements get brought back, and suddenly rumors from years ago are being treated like they happened yesterday. But behind all that noise, reports suggest there may be deeper frustrations between the sisters that have never fully disappeared, with money, relationships, and old family disagreements all getting mixed together. Even a small comment can bring previous tension right back to the surface. And some fans think those old frustrations explain why even the smallest Braxton disagreement can suddenly feel way bigger than it started. This family has spent years sharing parts of their personal lives on television, in interviews, and across social media, so viewers have watched certain disagreements play out almost in real time. But what the public sees is still only one piece of the story. That's especially important when it comes to Toni and Tamar. Toni has often appeared more reserved about certain personal matters, while Tamar is known for being more outspoken when she feels misunderstood. That difference in communication can create a messy situation, because silence gets interpreted one way, while speaking out gets interpreted another way. Then you have people digging through old clips and comparing statements from completely different periods. A comment made years ago can suddenly resurface and be presented as evidence of a brand new feud, even when there's no confirmation that the sisters are currently arguing about that specific issue. That makes separating documented disagreements from internet speculation extremely important.
This is what happens. Look at the Braxton sisters now. Look how they get along without Tracy in the picture. Now that Tracy is no longer there, they cannot project their hatred onto her. They all have baggage. They all have issues. They all have inner demons. And they used Tracy as a punching bag to deflect and take the attention off their own lives.
And there's another piece of their history that helps explain why fans keep questioning where the sisters really stand. Despite their public disagreements, Toni and Tamar have also shown support for each other at different points, making their relationship much more complicated than simply labeling them enemies. And that complicated history is exactly why it's hard to tell where normal sister drama ends and a serious family fallout begins. Toni and Tamar can disagree 1 minute and still show love for each other later, which makes some of the bigger rumors floating around them difficult to judge from the outside. What makes things even more interesting is how differently the sisters seem to handle public pressure. Tamar has never been afraid to speak up when she believes something about her is being misunderstood, while Toni often appears more selective about what she addresses publicly. So when Tamar responds and Toni doesn't immediately match that energy, fans sometimes assume there must be something deeper happening behind closed doors. But silence doesn't automatically confirm a rumor. And with so many unverified stories being attached to their names, from relationship claims to financial accusations, it becomes easy for speculation to get mixed up with things the sisters have actually said themselves. There's also the bigger family dynamic to consider. The Braxton sisters have had disagreements involving loyalty, money, careers, and personal boundaries before, and those issues don't always stay between just two people. Once another sister gets involved, an old disagreement can suddenly become a much bigger family problem. That's why the Toni and Tamar situation may not be as simple as choosing who's right and who's wrong. Some of their tension appears connected to years of family history, and there are still other moments that help explain how things reached this point. And some of those moments go all the way back to when the sisters were trying to balance family loyalty with their individual careers. Toni became the breakout star early on, while the rest of the sisters had to build their own lanes over time. That kind of setup can create pressure in any family, especially when everybody's success, money, and personal choices are constantly being compared. Tamar eventually built a name that stood on its own through music, television, touring, and business opportunities. But becoming successful separately, didn't automatically erase the old family dynamics. If anything, fans noticed that the sisters could still clash over who sacrificed the most, who supported whom, and whose version of their family history should be believed. That's also why the financial argument carries more weight than a random disagreement about spending. Toni has publicly discussed the pressure that came with being the family's biggest star, while Tamar has spoken about protecting her own finances and preparing for an unpredictable entertainment career. Those are two very different experiences, and both sisters may genuinely see money through completely different lenses. But there's another sensitive issue underneath all of this: respect. When private family frustrations become public comments, even something that sounds small can feel like a personal shot. And once fans start choosing sides, every interview, social media post, or cryptic message gets examined for clues about who might be responding to whom. And once people start searching for hidden messages, almost anything can suddenly look suspicious.
I think all of the Braxtons here in this video, they're all narcissists. They're just different levels of narcissists. I think Toni is a covert. I think Towanda is a covert. Tamar is a malignant, overt narcissist. Tamar is a big narcissist. You know, they're all narcissists. They're just different levels. But now that their scapegoat Tracy is no longer there, they can't gang up on her, and they cannot use Tracy to deflect from their own problems. Now they're left to scour and scurry and point fingers at each other.
A vague post about loyalty, a comment about protecting your peace, or even one sister not publicly supporting another can get interpreted as shade. But unless somebody actually names names, connecting those posts to Toni or Tamar is mostly speculation. Still, there's a reason fans pay such close attention to their words. The Braxton family has spent years being unusually open about disagreements that many families would keep private. Viewers have seen arguments about careers, relationships, boundaries, and who feels supported or unsupported by the people closest to them. That history also makes Tamar's alleged comments about Toni's finances feel more personal to some viewers. If Toni believes she spent years helping her family while carrying her own career expenses, then hearing criticism about how she manages money could hit a nerve. On the other side, Tamar's public comments about saving and living below her means may simply reflect lessons she learned from watching financial problems happen around her, rather than being a direct shot at anybody. And that difference matters, because not every comment has to be shade. Sometimes two sisters can have completely different approaches without secretly attacking each other. But when there's already unresolved tension in the background, people naturally start connecting dots. Then there's the question of what happens when those private frustrations stop staying private, because that's when family loyalty can get tested in a completely different way. And apparently, Toni's frustration goes even deeper than what we've already heard. She has reportedly claimed that she's spent her own money on publicists to help manage the fallout from some of her sister's controversial social media moments. And according to the story, she eventually became tired of carrying that responsibility. If true, that would mean these problems didn't appear overnight. They've allegedly been building for years. Some reports have even suggested that the tension between Toni and Tamar reached a point where being around each other became extremely difficult. Birdman has also been pulled into the chatter, with unverified sources claiming he believes their relationship has become so strained that repairing it would take some serious effort. But since these are behind-the-scenes claims without clear confirmation, they should be treated as allegations rather than facts. Could Toni and Tamar eventually put all this drama behind them? Or have too many lines already been crossed? Only they really know what's happening inside their family. Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment for more.